I've seen pictures of Vernie, and she is this beautiful, beautiful girl. And Vernie used to cook with this Irish lady, apparently. Apparently they used to cook together a lot in the flat. And whatever the conditions were, they both developed a form of anemia. They were very, very unwell, the conditions they were in, as you can imagine. They both sought treatment, and the Irish woman got treated for her iron deficiency. Vernie was told to just rest and stop playing up. So basically she was almost done for truancy. So this Irish woman got better, was given the iron tablets. Vernie died as a result. Not only that, she died on Boxing Day. On Christmas Eve, I think she died, around Christmas. And my cousin Angela was a baby when it happened. And my cousin Angela, who is a year younger than me, every Christmas of her life, she's never spent with her mother, because my aunt goes to bed Christmas Eve and gets up Boxing Day. Her life has been affected by the fact that because of the colour of her sister's skin, health professionals didn't give her the help she needed. To this day, my cousin is affected by that. There are certain things that she can't think about, and that's why the whole thing about racism and racial inequality is a killer.
When the NHS does its friends and family tests, when it comes to black people, and there's a lot of black people working at NHS, it's not like we're just a minority. NHS is the biggest employer for black people in this country, full stop. But yet when NHS staff, black staff, they will give a lower rating around friends and family tests compared to Southeast Asian and white peers. It's no different with local government. When local government does its surveys of residents about values of service, do you like our housing, do you like our parks and services, black people give a lower rating compared to local governments because there is a historical endemic issue of trust on public services. I mean, Teresa, the report done by the Joint Committee of Human Rights, which was a subcommittee in Parliament, which Harriet Harman led, and they did a survey of black people about trust in public services. And I think I'm not quite sure which of the research, it was a black research company that did the research work, and that report highlighted a lack of trust across a range of public services, actually. So the question we need to ask ourselves is not so much it's an NHS problem, it's a systemic problem around trust and system.
All my life and my passion is about men's health. And because I have 4 brothers, and I protect them, I'm the eldest, I protect them with my life. And so being a nurse, if I have a male patient come to me, I really have to think outside the box, inside the box, over the box, under the box, because I want to do the best for my patient. And so when they talk to me, I'm listening and I'm listening and I'm listening in all ways, because the NHS has failed my family, myself, and I am part of the NHS. It's really hard.
I'm on the board of directors in a mental health trust, and during COVID, my eldest son wasn't coping. And it was the same time, he was 16, and we all know how it affected young children. And in my role, I would have to oversee the serious incidents. So on a regular basis, whilst my son was struggling with his psychological well-being, I was reading reports of the suicides. So it is no wonder that my son is now at Trinidad doing his A-levels, because I cannot counter what I think you just said. I can't even put it into words.
So during COVID, when lots of nurses were going on the front line, as it were, they said to me, and I haven't worked on the ward for 20 years, oh, you need to go to ITU. I went, hell no, am I? And I am articulate, and I'm senior, and I, gave my reasons that I probably would kill somebody if I went on the ward. Lo and behold, 2 months later, they started to do the risk factor. So what they should have been doing at the beginning was assessing everybody and seeing if you were fit enough to go and work. And it's not saying we didn't want to. We were saying that, we may not be the right person. I'm overweight. I'm well over the age of the risk. I had high blood pressure, and I shouldn't have been working on the ward. I have privilege because I'm a senior person. A lot of the younger girls were straight on the wards. I was hearing the sad, the reality of, oh, only the white girls are getting that mask and I'm getting that mask. They're getting the scrubs, I'm not getting the scrubs, blah. And this is the reality of the NHS. And because I work with my charity, we were able to, WhatsApp people and say, look, this is what you should be doing, this is what you shouldn't be doing. Try and get this. If you need a conversation, come to us about the conversation. But also about the 3 degrees that you mentioned. During COVID, a lot of people came from the Caribbean, they came from Africa, they came from all the continents to work in the NHS, and they were not getting supported.
Full circle.
It's history repeating itself, and nothing has changed, because those girls that have come over as international nurses, number one, they have to fight, is their nursing training good enough for us? And if it is, how long they stay, and they can still be at a lower band for 5-6 years before they get promoted. And so, I talk to the elder nurses and they're going, well, that's what happened back in the 60s and 70s. And I'm like, well, it's still happening now, and it's, oh, sorry, 2022.
COVID-19 opened a lot of wounds for a lot of us as black and brown people. That's without a shadow of a doubt. All empirical data was there. The plethora of reports were saying we were being discriminated against in this way, that way, and the other. Nobody was taking a blind bit of notice. The reports were being done. They would gather dust on the shelf, and we move on to yet another report and another report. And that has been the case for God knows how many years. COVID-19 really encapsulated and focused on the fact that African, Caribbean, and Asian people, black and brown people, were at the cutting edge of being in acute wards, being dying or catching the coronavirus, etc. And that, for me, is what the opening wounds is about.
We all know when it comes to the black experience and trust, and I think COVID was a perfect example of highlighting that there was a barometer of mistrust. The barometer was like that, wasn't it? How do you get the barometer from there to there? So it does require some of us in the community, and as health, and there've been a lot of black health professionals who have gone over and above their day job, and I've seen them doing lots of Zoom calls and lots of community events, and sometimes putting their own health at risk to engage with the community. I'm not going to go through the merits of the vaccine and that kind of stuff, but they were engaging at least with the community to have a more so than I've ever seen before, to be quite honest, around having that conversation. And then eventually the rest of the system kind of followed suit. I think the question that you raised, Martin, how do we build on that? That is a good question. How do we build on that? And there was, and the barometer did go up a little bit that way. My fear is the barometer is going to go back down again if we don't do some basic things around resourcing, around acknowledging when people like yourself are in pain, that you are treated. If you were given more respect, you tell friends, family, work colleagues, you tell your peers. That will build trust and confidence.